Hi everyone, I thought I would do an updated video for you today on how I use the Makeup Forever Full Cover Concealer. And this will be kind of as a foundation almost, and how I use it at spot concealing. So right now I don't really have anything on my face. Earlier today I did put a little bit of Hourglass Ambient lighting powder on most of my face, and I did also put some under eye concealer on, the CoverGirl Plus Olay Depuffer, and I also have some Becca Shimmering Skin Perfector Pearl Liquid on my cheeks, and that's about it. So most of that has worn away because it's been about an hour, although my pearl is still quite pearly. Best highlighter, love it. So yeah, so I am just gonna go ahead and get into how I use this, and I'll just talk about things like longevity, and consistency and all that stuff while I'm putting it on. So hopefully this won't take too long. So let's get into it. So I recorded a video on how I use this concealer a couple years ago, and one thing that hasn't changed is this brush. This is from Coastal Scents, and the number is BR104 Synthetic Deluxe Crease Brush. I don't know if it still exists. I will put a link to it below if I can find it, and it just has a nice amount of give to it. It's not super duper dense, but it's not really floppy and loose. I don't know, there's something about this. I've tried a lot of I have tried a lot of other eye brushes that I have, and I still keep going back to this because it just works so well. So the first thing I'm going to do is put some on my nose, and I'm just going to apply it with this. So this is very pigmented, and it also dries really quickly, so you want to take out small portions at a time, and you'll see it setting up on your hand or your palette or whatever. So that's how much I'm going to take out for my nose, and I can always get more if I want. And then I'm just all right, and then I just start kind of slapping it on my nose. So I have a lot of problems with color products these days. I can't apply really any foundation except for face and body in this kind of haphazard way. For whatever reason, this concealer does not sit into my pores. It doesn't, you know, show a bunch of dryness that I don't even know is there. It just, the consistency works really well on my skin. So I just kind of buff it in. This color is not, I wouldn't want something this dark all over my face, and it's not super dark, it's shade number 1, but it's definitely darker than the skin on my neck, so it's fine because I'm not using it all over my face. And I feel like it does match the skin on my face, which is darker than my neck, pretty well. Not a great match, but when I'm basically applying this to places where I already have more, you know, redness, more darkness for whatever reason. Gonna take, so that was about 2/3 of the product, and then I'm going to take what's left and kind of go around my nose where there's more, a little more redness. I also get a little, there's kind of a line where it stops being pink up at my nose, so I have to make sure I kind of get that part of my bridge of my nose. And I've been having little kind of tiny blemishes up there too, which makes it seem a little bit more red. I'm gonna get a little bit more out, not as much. There we go, that much. And I am gonna put a little bit kind of at the more inner part of my cheeks, just because I have a little bit of just general redness, and also some kind of visible capillaries that if I'm not wearing any foundation, I do like to sometimes cover that up a little bit. So as you can see, this just goes on so smoothly. It is a little bit more of a dry formula, so you need to have very moisturized under eyes if you are going to use it under your eyes. And so I am just going to put a little bit, not directly under my eyes, but kind of here where I have a lot of pretty dark freckles, just to kind of tone that down a little bit. It's funny, I was relaxing while my son was taking a nap, and I got up and I kind of had my face like smashed into the pillow, and I just out of the corner of my eye I saw this really dark spot under my eyes, and I thought it was mascara that had smudged under there. No, it was just this really dark freckle. You'd think that I would remember that it's there. You would think. Okay. All right, so now I'm gonna do my chin. Maybe zoom out a little tiny bit, just so my chin's in focus. So I have some older blemishes, which they're still raised, but they're fairly smooth and just kind of large red marks. And then I have some new, just the little tiny red ones. So in this case, I am gonna use this on kind of the larger areas, get about the same amount that I took out for my nose, and just start kind of going over the larger areas of darkness or redness, spots, what have you. Like anything else, it's not going to work too well if you have actual like dry flaking skin. There's just nothing in the world that can really do anything about that, unfortunately. Just try to exfoliate a little, put something a little bit moisturizing on it. That one's looking a little purpley, isn't it? See if I can get a little more. So for the smaller spots, what I'll do sometimes, it really depends on the situation, is take something like this, which is a Sigma E05. It's kind of large for an eyeliner brush, but it's nice for spot concealing. So I just get a little bit on the eyeliner brush, just kind of blend it into it, and then just lightly go onto the blemish, and then tap it with my finger. So this is a method that I think I probably saw first with Lisa Eldridge. And I find it didn't work for me until I found the right concealer. Because with the tapping with your finger, if the concealer is not the right consistency for how much you put on and whatnot, it might just blend it off, the actual blemish. But I find this one kind of sticks to it a lot better. So it doesn't slide off when you try to blend it. Now, since this whole area is kind of red, I am just going to go back with my crease brush. Just because I think really that whole area needs to be covered. Just because that skin is just kind of irritated. So now I'm just going around the blemishes to get the skin that's kind of red. And I'm not applying much pressure at all. I have this like pitted scar up here, and sometimes I get blemishes right next to it. It's really weird. So then it's like, is that part of the scar? Is it a new blemish? I don't know. All right, so I think that is all I'm going to do. So it just took down that redness on my nose, got my chin looking a little bit more even, covered up that acne, the breakout that's happening. It's not perfect, but I think it's a lot more toned down. I don't feel that there's really any way to completely cover things for them to look vaguely natural. I feel like having just a tiny bit visible almost is a little bit better because it looks a little bit more natural than having a very, very just like complete even color with bumps underneath it. But that's just my personal feeling about it. So I know that I have definitely a different take on it than a lot of people, so definitely understand if that's not the way that you like to deal with your blemishes. Longevity wise, on the drier parts of my face, this will last all day, you know, 10-12 hours without a problem. The oiliness that I have in my skin, it tends to break down makeup very fast. This lasts longer than basically anything else I've tried for this purpose, but that still is only about 5 or 6 hours on my nose. And then on an extremely oily, like cystic acne blemish, it's going to start breaking down after maybe 2 hours. On just a standard blemish, it's going to be breaking down in about 4 to 5 hours. So it's still pretty good for me compared to others that I have tried. I typically don't set this with a powder. I feel like the finish that I get on my nose, you can see it has a fair amount of sheen. It's not very dry and matte looking, which is what I prefer. So I am going to use a finishing powder, not necessarily setting powder, and this is Hourglass Ambient Lighting Powder in Diffused Light. And I like to apply this with an e.l.f. Complexion Brush. And this will just kind of make my skin look a little bit smoother, kind of continue that appearance of a glow, a little bit more even. So that's it for my foundation and concealer routine using the Makeup Forever Full Cover Concealer in shade number 1. I hope this was helpful. Let me know if you have any questions in the comments below. And I hope you're having a wonderful day. Thank you so much for watching. And if you do want to see more videos from me, then please do subscribe. And I'll see you soon.